Welcome to the deep dive. We're going to get into some pretty fascinating stuff today.
Yeah.
We're looking at how immigration attorneys are finding new ways to be more effective, especially when it comes to all that paperwork and the intense pressure of those green card and deportation cases.
Right.
I think a lot of people don't realize just how much goes into those cases.
It's a ton.
So today, we're going to dive into how some attorneys are using a smarter support approach to streamline their work.
I'm excited to break this down.
Me too. I think it'll be really helpful for anyone who wants to understand the challenges and opportunities in immigration law these days.
Absolutely. And especially for those who might be considering a career in this field.
Definitely. So to kick things off, let's just acknowledge the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Immigration law is notoriously complex.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
And it's not just the law itself, right?
Right.
It's the mountain of paperwork, the constant changes in regulations, and the emotional weight of dealing with people's lives and futures.
Exactly. It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And this is where our deep dive comes in.
Oh, yeah.
We've got some sources that highlight how demanding this work can be, especially for attorneys handling green card applications, particularly marriage-based ones, and of course, deportation cases.
Oh, those are some of the toughest.
Yeah. So let's start with marriage-based green cards.
Okay.
What makes those so challenging from an attorney's perspective?
Well, you've got to understand the sheer volume of evidence required to prove the legitimacy of the marriage.
Right. It's not just saying, hey, we're in love.
No, not at all.
There's got to be proof, right?
Tons of it.
Yeah.
We're talking about financial records, joint leases, photos, affidavits from friends and family.
Wow. It's like building a case for, I don't know, a major trial.
It kind of is. And then there's the mountain of paperwork, the forms.
Don't even get me started on the forms.
They know, right?
I've just glanced at some of them, and it's enough to make your head spin.
Oh, yeah. Like Form I-130, the petition for alien relative.
Oh, yeah, that one.
That one's a beast. And then you've got the I-485, the application to register permanent residence or adjust status.
Right, and it's not just filling them out, right?
Well, yeah.
It's making sure every single detail is accurate and complete.
Exactly, because any little mistake can lead to delays or even rejection of the application.
And that's just for the marriage-based green cards.
Yeah, it's intense.
Now, imagine adding the pressure cooker of a deportation case on top of that.
Oh, man. Deportation cases, those are a whole other level.
Right. So what are some of the unique challenges there?
Well, first off, the stakes are incredibly high. I mean, you're literally fighting to keep someone from being removed from the country.
Yeah, it's life-altering.
Absolutely. And often there are very strict deadlines and a lot of legal hurdles to overcome.
Like what kind of hurdles?
Well, for example, there might be a 10-year rule in place, meaning the person has to have been outside the U.S. for 10 years before they can apply for re-entry.
Oh, wow.
And getting around that rule requires a ton of research and legal maneuvering.
Yeah, I could see how that would be incredibly time-consuming.
It is.
And stressful for both the attorney and the client, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Plus, you often have to address past violations or criminal convictions,
Right.
which can complicate things even further.
So it sounds like immigration attorneys, especially those handling these types of cases,
Yeah.
they're facing a ton of pressure and an insane workload.
It's true. They're often juggling multiple cases, each with its own set of complexities and deadlines.
Yeah.
And all of that can take a toll, not just on their time, but also on their well-being.
That makes sense.
Burnout is a real issue in this field.
I bet. So let's get to the heart of today's deep dive, this smarter support approach.
Okay. This is where things get really interesting.
Yeah, because it sounds like a potential solution to some of these challenges.
It really is. So this smarter support, it's formally called Immigration Process Outsourcing, or IPO.
IPO. Okay, I like that.
It's kind of like a secret weapon for immigration attorneys.
A secret weapon, huh?
Yeah. It's all about strategically delegating certain tasks to specialized experts.
Makes sense. I mean, why try to do everything yourself when you can bring in people who are really good at specific things?
Exactly. It's about working smarter, not harder.
I love that. So what kinds of tasks are we talking about here?
Well, it varies depending on the case, but let's start with green card applications, specifically the marriage-based ones we were talking about.
Okay.
One of the most commonly outsourced tasks is paperwork preparation.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Right. Because these experts, they know the forms inside and out. They're meticulous about the details, and they can make sure everything is accurate and complete.
That's got to be a huge weight off the attorney's shoulders.
Huge. It frees up so much time and reduces the risk of errors that could delay the case.
So are these experts like paralegals or something?
They can be, but often they're part of specialized IPO firms that focus specifically on these tasks.
Interesting. So it's like having a whole team of extra support, but without the overhead of hiring full-time staff.
Exactly. That's one of the big benefits.
I bet. What else are attorneys outsourcing in these green card cases?
Well, another big one is client interview coaching.
Oh, yeah. Those USCIS interviews can be pretty nerve-wracking.
They can be. So these experts, they help the clients prepare for the interview. They do mock interviews.
Oh, that's smart.
Right. They coach them on how to answer questions clearly and confidently, how to present themselves well.
Because I bet even if you're totally legit, nerves can make you mess things up.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And a good interview coach can make a huge difference in how smoothly the interview goes.
And how the USCIS officer perceives the couple, right?
Exactly. It's all about creating a positive impression.
Makes sense. Any other key tasks being outsourced for green cards?
Yeah, case tracking and updates.
Oh, right, because I'm sure clients get anxious waiting for news.
They do. So some attorneys are using IPO services to handle all the communication with clients, sending them regular updates on their case status, answering their questions, and basically keeping them informed every step of the way.
Wow, that's got to save a ton of time for the attorney and reduce all those frantic phone calls from worried clients.
Exactly. It streamlines everything and keeps everyone in the loop.
So we've talked about green cards, but what about deportation cases?
Right. Deportation, it's a whole different ballgame, as we said.
Yeah, because the stakes are just so much higher and the legal issues are often more complex.
Exactly. So in these cases, attorneys are often outsourcing tasks that require deep legal expertise and a lot of research.
Makes sense. So like what specifically?
Well, one big one is waiver applications.
Okay, what are those?
So waivers are basically requests to forgive certain grounds of inadmissibility.
Like if someone overstayed their visa or had a criminal conviction in the past?
Exactly. And there are different types of waivers, like the I-212 for reentry after deportation, or the I-601 and I-601A for grounds of inadmissibility.
Wow, it sounds complicated.
It is. And preparing these waivers, it requires a lot of attention to detail, very specific legal arguments, and a deep understanding of immigration law.
So having an expert handle that is crucial.
Absolutely. It can significantly increase the chances of success.
And save the attorney a ton of time, I imagine.
Oh, for sure. Plus, there's the legal research component, which, as we mentioned, can be huge in deportation cases.
Right, because you might be looking for any possible avenue to help your client stay in the country.
Exactly. So attorneys are outsourcing things like researching case law, finding relevant precedents, and exploring options like humanitarian relief.
Okay, so it's like having an extra brain working on the case, a brain that's really specialized in immigration law.
That's a great way to put it. And this kind of support can be invaluable, especially when you're up against tight deadlines and facing a mountain of legal challenges.
So it sounds like this smarter support approach, this IPO, it's really about allowing attorneys to focus on what they do best.
Exactly. Things like developing legal strategy, building relationships with clients, and presenting the strongest possible case in court.
And less on the administrative stuff that, while important, can really bog them down.
Right. It's about freeing up their time and mental energy so they can be more effective advocates for their clients.
And hopefully prevent burnout, too.
Oh, definitely. Because when you're constantly stressed and overwhelmed, it's hard to do your best work.
Makes sense. Now, there's one more piece of this smarter support puzzle that I'm curious about.
Okay, what's that?
Virtual legal receptionists.
Ah, yes. Virtual receptionists, they're becoming a game changer for a lot of firms.
So tell me, what do they actually do?
Well, they act as the front line for client communication.
Okay, so they're like the first point of contact.
Exactly. They answer calls, respond to emails, schedule appointments, and even send out case updates to clients.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is, but it takes so much pressure off the attorney and their staff.
I bet. So it's like having a dedicated receptionist, but without the need for a physical office space or all the costs associated with hiring a full-time employee.
Exactly. It's a much more cost-effective solution.
And it probably improves client communication too, right?
Yeah.
Because clients are getting their questions answered promptly and they're not left wondering what's going on with their case.
Exactly. It creates a much better client experience.
Which is crucial in such a sensitive and stressful area like immigration law.
Totally. Clients need to feel supported and informed, and virtual receptionists can help make that happen.
So we've talked about a lot of the benefits of this smarter support approach for attorneys.
They have.
But I'm also curious about the impact on clients.
Right, because ultimately it's about helping clients achieve their immigration goals.
Exactly. So are we seeing any positive results for clients who work with attorneys who use these support systems?
We are. Studies have shown that clients report higher levels of satisfaction when their attorneys utilize IPO and virtual receptionist services.
That makes sense. I mean, if you're getting regular updates, your questions are being answered promptly, and you feel like your case is being handled efficiently, you're going to be happier, right?
Right. Absolutely. And that peace of mind can be invaluable, especially when you're dealing with the uncertainty and stress of immigration proceedings.
So it sounds like this smarter support approach is truly a win-win for both attorneys and clients.
It really is. It's about leveraging technology and specialized expertise to create a more efficient and effective immigration law practice.
And ultimately, to help more people navigate the complexities of the system and achieve their dreams.
Exactly. It's about making the process more human, even in the face of all the bureaucracy and legal challenges.
That's a great way to put it. And it's really exciting to see how this approach is evolving and helping to shape the future of immigration law.
I agree. It's a really promising development.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today, I'm curious to hear what you think.
Hmm.
Do you believe that delegating tasks and utilizing smarter support is the key to helping attorneys focus on their strengths and better serve their clients?
Hmm. That's a great question.
Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
And that's all the time we have for this deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.
See ya.